One of the most challenging things that you can ever do in your life is to move to a whole new country, learn a whole new language and a whole new culture, and still be able to be like, I survived, didn't I? But it's also one of the most fruitful things that can happen to you, because it just forces you to grow. It just forces you to see the world in a whole new way, and honestly it's the best way for you to prove to yourself that you can actually do anything. But I think the most important thing about living abroad is how much you get to learn, and for me that's a very important aspect of my life. It's a philosophy that is among the top of the top in my life, because learning is how you get to just progress and to grow into a beautiful human being. And one of the things that I like doing is learning from people around me. And in the 3.5 years that I was in France, I really got to learn a lot of things from French people, and those are the learnings, the lessons that I want to share with you today. One of the givens, of course, of being in France is the fact that you get to learn French. But I think the most amazing thing that you can learn apart from French is Franglish, or they call it Franglish. You know, when you speak with the French accent, when you are speaking English, I think this is something that I really like. It is something that I put lots of effort to ensure that I understand, because when French people speak English a lot, especially the older people, they speak like this, and you have to teach yourself how to understand them. And also I think it's important to also learn how to speak it. I think it is beautiful. Some people think that it is romantic, but it is a lot of fun. My friends really like it when I speak English with that accent, because they find it funny. I just think it's just nice. I just love it. Well, aside from that, one of the things that the French are really known for is their strikes. And people are always like, oh, the French, they like striking. But what I have learned from the French is that you have to fight for the life that you want. And the strikes that are always going on in France is because the French people are fighting for the life that they want. I mean, I was really shocked. It was actually a culture shock when I got to France and realized that their taxes actually work. Their taxes are put into good use. I mean, I was a foreign student and I was getting a subsidy on my rent. I was not paying taxes to the French government, but the taxes that the French people are paying were also helping me. I was like, what is happening? And also the fact that their healthcare system is almost free for anyone, as long as you have the Sécurité Sociale number. You are refunded 70% of your medical fees. Like, what? As someone who comes from Kenya, a country which is highly corrupt, and where we never really see where taxes go, because they all end up in people's pockets, a few people's pockets. I mean, I was so shocked. I was like, wow, taxes actually work. I was just like, this is a whole new world. But the reason why it works is because the French people are always fighting for what they want. And it's not a matter of just going for strike once and just waiting for something to happen. They are always going on strike. There's always some sort of strike every weekend in Paris. That is how much they just committed to ensuring that they are fighting for their rights and fighting for the life that they want. And something else that is also tied to this is work-life balance, which the French people have really fought for. I was so shocked when I started working in France and realized that when they say it's 8 hours, it's strictly 8 hours, and you're actually forced to go for lunch. The 1 hour that is put aside for lunch, it's compulsory. Like, the CEO will actually tell you to go for lunch, and they will lock the office and come back at 2 p.m. It was shocking, because while I was working in Kenya, you are expected to sit down at your desk, eat while working. Like, I had never really experienced anything like work-life balance. What do you mean work-life balance? Even in school in Kenya, we are always given 10 minutes to eat our lunch and then go to the labs to do some biology and chemistry practicals. And then after that, go back to class. Like, it was just doing and doing and doing over and over. But it is in France that I actually learned about work-life balance. And nowadays, I'm not all about the hustle life where you wake up at 5 a.m. and I don't know, go to bed at midnight. Like, no, I want to enjoy my life. And that is something that I've learned from the French. They also don't work during weekends. It's actually against the law to ask someone to work during weekends. They also go on holiday during the whole of August. A lot of people close their businesses and go on a 4-week or 5-week holiday, even bakeries. And a lot of these bakeries are like small businesses. And this was a shock to me, because if a small business can afford to close for a whole month, goodness. But it's because they really care about that work-life balance, because when you're rested, you are able to actually work very well. But when you're always just on the go, you're going to end up being burnt out and you won't be able to give your best. So yeah, work-life balance is very important. I also learned about the importance of taking time to enjoy the little things. You know, even when French people are working, they ensure they have their cafe like at 10 a.m. And even when they go for lunch, it's not like they're going to just rush so they can eat their lunch and go back to work. They sit down and they're just taking their time and enjoying everything. It's like they're just being in the moment. They also have something called apéro, where you meet with your friends and you're just having like a snack, like wine and some crisps and cheese, or a charcuterie board. They really have this culture where they take time to just enjoy other people's company and just enjoy their life. I think it's really beautiful. And even they go on walks. A lot of times I would like going to the parks and I would see old couples just taking a walk and sitting down and basking in the sun. It's like there is no hurry. We're just enjoying life. A lot of French people also have a strong commitment to living a healthy lifestyle and also an eco-conscious life. This was actually something new, because in Kenya and also a lot of African countries, the emphasis on being healthy is something that is not there really. When you wake up in the morning, you see people going out on runs, even 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds going out for runs. People are biking, people are taking walks. They've really created a culture of taking care of yourself. And one of the things people are always asking is, oh, the French people, they're always eating pastries, they're drinking wine. But it's because they do this in moderation, and again, because they believe in enjoying everything that life has to offer, but in moderation. And to ensure that that does not have an impact on their lives, they ensure that exercise is part and parcel of their daily lives. And I think this is something that is so beautiful. And that is something that I actually picked up. And when it comes to being eco-conscious, they are always really having conversations about how to contribute to making the world a better place. I mean, even something like veganism is something that I tried while I was living in France. I know, shocking, because a lot of French people eat meat, but also a lot of French people are very open to trying veganism. And there were actually a lot of vegan products, especially in Paris, and it's even expanding to other parts of France. There are several vegan meat brands, French meat brands, which I also found to be very shocking, because in my head I was like, France would actually be the last country on this earth to ever think about veganism. And you can really tell the commitment that French people have towards creating a healthy lifestyle for themselves, because they have a lot of green spaces, a lot of parks. They also have a lot of walking pavements, which again is something that really misses a lot in Kenya. In Kenya, it's just hard to find even a suburb where people have like a walking pavement. It's just the roads for cars. There is no space for people to even go take a walk if they wanted to during lunchtime, because you're expected to just be working and working and working and hustling. But what about your health? Nobody cares. It's just about making money, because money makes the world go round. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really hate about Kenya, because it's like people just worship money. They forget that you need to live, you need to take care of yourself. And even in the development of infrastructure, there needs to be space for people to just go and chill, green spaces, because greenery is healing. It's basically free therapy. One of the most important things I would say that I learned from the French people is just making everything beautiful. I find that the French are always just committed to ensuring the things are beautiful. One of the things that really attracts people to France, it's the beauty of the Eiffel Tower, of the Louvre, whether it's Centre Pompidou, whether it's the architecture, the Haussmannian architecture in Paris. My goodness, it just makes all the buildings look cohesive, and it's just nice when everything is beautiful. You'll even find the most beautiful lampposts. You know, when you make everything beautiful, it just makes everything feel better. That's why people are like, oh my God, France is so romantic. It's because they make everything beautiful. If you ever go to Paris, take a walk at night along the Seine River. My goodness, it's the most beautiful things, because the orange lights that are on the buildings, they reflect on the River Seine, the waters of the River Seine, and it's just beautiful. My goodness. Oh. And beauty is really important in our lives because we are all wired to always want beautiful things. And when you're surrounded by beautiful things, you instantly feel better. When you look at countries like the USA right now, a lot of the pictures and videos I see, it's like everything is just concrete. It's like a gray concrete city. And that's one of the things that I see a lot of African countries trying to emulate, you know, the US. And I'm like, no. We need to go back to making everything beautiful. You go to countries like Turkey, I mean, the whole of Middle East is like the blueprint for making everything beautiful, because beauty just makes life amazing. Something that I deeply admire about the French people is the immense support that they have for young people. And I say this because I am a young woman, young, smart, ambitious woman living in an African country where each and every day I'm reminded that the older people are the one who know more, even when they're running their companies to the ground because they do not want to advance their learnings, because they do not want to embrace new technology and embrace new ideas. I'm expected to just sit down and suck it up and listen to what the older people have to tell me because they are the ones who know best. I have to sit down and listen to condescending things just because I'm young. In France, I was actually shocked by the immense support that you're given as a young person. This is a subsidy that you get on your rent as a student so that you are able to actually not struggle so much with finding money to pay your rent, and that subsidy can actually help you to even cover some bills. They also ensure that they have reduced food prices. For students, you can even eat a whole meal for €1. Whether it's always having access to mentors who are ready to help you in your career path, I find this to be invaluable and something that I deeply appreciated because it was something new and something that I had craved for a very long time. And finding that in a country that is not even my own, it was really nice. And also when I look at a lot of young French people who have always been getting a lot of this support ever since they were young, you can see how they're so motivated and they're able to do such great things at such a young age. The people who are my age and they have companies that are being featured in Forbes. I mean, if you look at Forbes France, the list, you are like, oh my God, these are people my age and they're doing great things. But it's because they get a lot of support from a young age. Older generations are not telling them, oh my God, you're a young person, you should sit down, I don't want to listen to you. They're like, you know what, you're young, you have great ideas. Well, come, I'm going to support you, or I'm going to introduce you to someone who is going to support you. Or you want to start a startup? Well, what is your idea? Actually have programs where they train you as a young entrepreneur and they give you access to the resources that you need. I think France is one of the countries with the highest number of startups, I think, if I'm not wrong. They have La French Tech, they have Station F, where a lot of young entrepreneurs are there with all their ideas and just trying to build something. And a lot of these people actually have great ideas, and all these companies they're starting are to help the world. Is like companies with a purpose, with a vision that is to help people. It's not about just starting a company because I want to make money. And I think it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Yeah, and I really wish that in a place like Kenya we had that immense support for talent, for innovation, for young brains. So those are a few lessons that I learned from French people. I definitely have more, but I don't think I can remember them at this point. But when I do, I'm definitely gonna share them. I think it's just amazing to be able to be a student of life and to learn from the world around you, to learn from people who live in different countries. I think it just adds to building your worldview and making you realize that the world is a bigger place, and also makes you realize that maybe the way you were taught to do things is not the only way, or maybe it's not the right way, and you can find a different way of living because you've learned from other people and it might be better for you, like me. I'm not into the hustle culture, waking up at 5 a.m., sleeping at midnight. I did all of that through school because I was told that if you don't sleep, you're gonna have a great future. It's not real and it's not true. So now I just want to live my best life where I can do whatever it is I love without putting my health in jeopardy, having time to enjoy what life has to offer. I mean, I don't want to be the kind of person that works from Monday to Saturday or Sunday and I don't have time to rest and I can't even enjoy my money because I'm always working. No, I want to enjoy every drop of what life has to give. Be it sunshine, be it rain, but I want to be in control of that because I do not want a corporation to be controlling how I spend my time. Spending 8 hours on a desk? Hell no. But I can spend 8 hours drinking wine, eating cheese, and thinking about the next ideas for the videos.